Something that he said back in January when he told the New Yorker when assessing the ISIS threat. He said the analogy we use around here sometimes, and I think is accurate, is if a JV team puts on Lakers uniforms, that doesn't make them Kobe Bryant. Is it safe to say that ISIS, they're no longer the JVs?
Well, I think what is appropriate to say is that there is no question that the Laker uniforms that were worn, to use that analogy a little, to draw out that analogy a little bit, that were worn by the Al-Qaeda leadership in Afghanistan has been decimated and defeated in Afghanistan. There's no question about that. And that is the result of the many decisions that were made by the president and the courageous service of our men and women in uniform and our men and women in the intelligence agencies. What is also true is that there are other organizations that subscribe to the violent extremist ideology that's espoused and promulgated by Al-Qaeda. Many of those groups in nations across the globe are not particularly sophisticated, are focused on local sectarian conflicts that don't pose a significant or immediate threat to U.S. interests or the U.S. homeland.
But you don't think ISIS is a JV
There are, of
squad?
course, let me finish. There are, of course, a couple of other organizations that do pose a more substantial threat to the United States and our interests. Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula is one of them. And you've seen the United States, in concert with our allies and partners, take significant steps, important steps, to mitigate the threat that's posed by those organizations that do have designs and some capability to try to strike the United States and in some cases even try to strike the homeland. We do remain concerned about the military proficiency that's been demonstrated by ISIL, and it's why you've seen the President take steps, including the authorization of military force that would protect American citizens who might be harmed by ISIL.
And just very quickly, ultimately, is it up to the Iraqis to eradicate the ISIS threat?
Ultimately, it's up to the Iraqi people, the Iraqi security forces, and the Iraqi government to address the security situation in their country. Again, we've talked about what will be required here. There will be American support that's provided, but there will not be American troops returning to Iraq in a combat role. The President's determined to ensure that the United States will not be dragged back into a prolonged military conflict there. But ultimately, the challenges that face the nation of Iraq right now are the kinds of challenges that can only be solved by the Iraqi people. Okay, let's move around just a little bit.